you please join as we read in unison the call to worship that appears on the screen? No, it won't. Well, this is the call to worship. Come into the circle of love and justice. Come into the community of hope, courage, and compassion. Come and you shall know peace and joy.
Happy winter solstice, everyone. The Shortest Day by Susan Cooper. So the shortest day came and the year died, and everywhere down the centuries of snow-white world came people singing, dancing, to drive the dark away. They lighted candles in the winter trees. They hung their homes with evergreen. They burned beseeching fires all night long to keep the year alive. Sorry. And when the New Year's sunshine blazed awake, they shouted, reveling. Through all the frosty ages you can hear them, echoing behind us. Listen. All the long echoes sing the same delight this shortest day. As promise wakens in the sleeping land, they carol, fest, give thanks, and dearly love their friends, and hope for peace, and so do we, here, now, this year and every year. Welcome, Yule.
Good morning. I'm going to be here to kind of facilitate getting going on the various hymns that we're doing, songs that we're doing. So the first one is Deck the Halls. I think most of you probably know that one. That was fun.
Testing. A Child's Christmas in Wales. A Child's Christmas in Wales is a collection of reminiscences of Dylan Thomas's Christmases, often delivered in dialogue with an imagined child. This is one such reading. Years and years ago, when I was a boy, when there were wolves in Wales, and birds the color of red flannel petticoats whisked past the heart-shaped hills, when we sang and wallowed all night and day in caves that smelt like Sunday afternoons in damp front farmhouse parlors, and we chased, with the jawbones of deacons, the English and the bears, before the motor car, before the wheel, before the Duchess-faced horse. When we rode the daft and happy hills bareback, it snowed and it snowed. That was all one sentence. But here a small boy says, "It snowed last year too. I made a snowman and my brother knocked it down. And I knocked my brother down, and then we had tea." But that was not the same snow, I say. Our snow was not only shaken from whitewashed buckets down the sky, it came shawling out of the ground and swam and drifted out of the arms and hands and bodies of the trees. Snow grew overnight on the roofs of the houses like a pure and grandfather moss. Minutely ivied the walls and settled on the postman, opening the gate like a dumb, numb thunderstorm of white, torn Christmas cards. Were the postmen there too? I'm sorry. were their postmen then too? With sprinkling eyes and wind-cherry noses, on spread frozen feet they crunched up to the doors and mittened on them manfully. But all that the children could hear was the ringing of bells. You mean the postman went rat-a-tat and the doors rang? I mean the bells that the children could hear were inside them. I only hear thunder sometimes, never bells. There were church bells too. Inside them? No. In the black, snow-white belfries, tugged by bishops and storks, and they rang their tidings over the bandaged town, over the frozen foam of the powder and ice cream hills, over the crackling sea. It seemed that all the churches boomed for joy under my window, and the weathercocks crew for Christmas on our fence. Get back to the postmen. They were just ordinary postmen, fond of walking and dogs and Christmas and the snow. They knocked on the doors with blue knuckles. Ours has a black knocker. And then they stood on the white welcome mat in the little drifted porches and huffed and puffed, making ghosts with their breath, and jogged from foot to foot like small boys wanting to go out. And then the presents, and then the presents after the Christmas box. And the cold postman with a rose on his button nose tingled down the tea tray slithered run of the chilly glinting hill. He went in the icebound boots like a man on fishmonger's slabs. He wagged his bag like a frozen camel's hump, dizzily turned the corner on one foot, and by God, he was gone. Get back to the presents. There were the useful presents, engulfing mufflers of the old coach days, and mittens made from giant sloths, zebra scarfs of a substance like silky glum that could be tug-of-war down to the galoshes, blinding tam-o'-shanters like patchwork tea cozies, and bunny-suited busbies and balaclavas for victims of head-shrinking tribes. From ants who always wore wool next to the skin, there were mustached and rasping vests that made you wonder why the ants had any skin left at all. And once I had a little crocheted nose bag from an ant now, alas, no longer whinnying with us. And pictureless books in which small boys, though warned with quotations not to, would skate on Farmer Giles' pond, and did, and drowned. And books that told me everything about the wasp, except why. Go on to useless presents. Bag of moist and many-colored jelly babies, and a folded flag, and a false nose, and a tram conductor's cap, and a machine that punched tickets and rang a bell. Never a catapult. Once by mistake that no one could explain, a little hatchet, and a celluloid duck that made, when you pressed it, a most unduck-like sound, a mewing moo that an ambitious cat might make who wished to be a cow, and a painting book in which I could make the grass, the trees, the sea, and the animals any color I please. And still the dazzling sky-blue sheep are grazing in the red field under the rain-billed and pea-green birds. Hard-boileds, toffee, fudge, and all sorts, crunchies, cracknel, humbugs, glaciers, marzipan, and butterwelsh for the Welsh. And troops of bright tin soldiers who, if they could not fight, could always run. And snakes and families and happy ladders and easy hobby games for little engineers, complete with instructions. Oh, easy for Leonardo. And a whistle to make the dogs bark to wake up the old man next door, to make him beat on the wall with his stick, to shake our picture off the wall. And a packet of cigarettes. You put one in your mouth and you stood at the corner of the street and you waited for hours in vain for an old lady to scold you for smoking a cigarette. And then with a smirk, you ate it. And then it was breakfast under the balloons. So please join us as we sing White Christmas.
And it's a dream, isn't it?
I'm dreaming of a white Christmas, just like the ones I used to know, where the treetops listen and children listen to hear sleigh bells in the snow. I'm dreaming of a white Christmas, with every Christmas card I write. May your days be merry and bright, and may all your Christmases be white. I'm dreaming of a white Christmas, just like the ones I used to know. The treetops listen and children listen to hear sleigh bells in the snow. I'm dreaming of a Christmas, with every Christmas card I write. May your days be merry and bright, and may all your Christmases be white.
Good morning. I'm going to be reading a Christmas story by John Henry Faulk. The day after Christmas, a number of years ago, I was driving down a country road in Texas, and it was bitter cold morning. And walking ahead of me on the gravel road was a little barefooted boy with ragged overalls and a makeshift sweater tied around his little ears. I stopped and picked him up. Looked like he was about 12 years old, and his little feet were blue with the cold. He was carrying an orange. And he got in and had the brightest blue eyes I ever saw. And he turned a bright smile on my face and says, "I'm going down the road about 2 miles to my cousin's. I want to show him my orange old Santa Claus brought me." "Did old Santa Claus come see you, mister?" And I said, "Yes. We had a real nice Christmas at our house, and I hope you did too." He paused for a moment, looked at me, and then with all the sincerity in the world said, "Mister, we had the wonderfulest Christmas in the United States down to our place. Lordy, it was the first one we had ever had there. See, we never do have them out there much. Don't notice when Christmas time comes. We heard about it. Well, you know, it's just Papa says old Santa Claus was scared to bring his reindeer down into our section of the county because folks down there are so hard up that they're liable to catch one of his reindeer and butcher him for meat." But just before Christmas, a lady came from town, and she told all the families through there that old Santa Claus has come in town to leave something for us, and if Papa go to town, he could get some Christmas time for all of us. And Papa hooked up his mule and wagon, he went in town. And long about the middle of the afternoon, well, we heard the team of a jangling harness a-coming, and we ran out in the front yard and said, "Yonder come Papa." And here come them mules in a big trot, you know. And Papa standing upright in the bed of that wagon, holding 2 big old chickens, all the feathers picked off. And he was just yelling, "Merry Christmas, Merry Christmas." And mister, I wish you could have seen what was in that wagon. It's bags of stripedy candy and apples and oranges and sacks of flour and some real coffee, and just all tinsely and pretty. And we couldn't say nothing. And Papa's standing there just waving them 2 chickens and yelling, "Merry Christmas to you, Merry Christmas to you," and a big old grin on his face. And Mama, she come hurrying out with the baby in her arms. And when she looked in that wagon, she just stopped. And then Papa, he dropped them 2 chickens and reached out and caught the baby out of her arms. And the little baby, little old Alvy Lee, he just laughed like he knowed it was Christmas too, you know. Then all of a sudden we heard Papa call out, "Merry Christmas to you, Sam Jackson." And we stopped and looked. And here comes Sam Jackson up the lane. And Papa said, "Sam Jackson, did you get in town to get some Christmas this year?" And he shook his head and said, "Well, no, sir, mister. Well, I didn't go in town. I heard about that, but I didn't know it was for colored folks too. I thought it was just for you white families." All of a sudden, none of us children was saying nothing. Papa, he looked down at Mama, and Mama looked up at him. And all of a sudden, Papa, he broke out in a big grin again. He said, "Dad, blame it, Sam Jackson, it's sure a good thing you come by here. Lord have mercy. I like to forgot. The last thing old Santa Claus asked me if I lived out here near you. Said he wanted me to bring part of this out here for you and your family, your woman and your children." Well, sir, Sam Jackson, he broke out in a big grin. And Papa says, "I tell you what to do. You get your wife and children, you come down here tomorrow morning." And Sam Jackson said, "You reckon?" And Mama called out to him and said, "Yes, and you tell your wife to be sure and bring some pots and pans, because we're going to have a heap of cooking to do, and I ain't sure I've got enough to take care of all of it." Well, sir, old Sam Jackson, he started up the lane, you know, and he was heading home to get the word to his folks. And next morning, us young'uns all out of bed about before daylight seemed like, just running in the kitchen and smelling and a-looking. And here comes Sam Jackson and his team and his wife and his 5 young'uns. And we run out and yelled, "Merry Christmas, Merry Christmas." And Papa said, "Sam Jackson, y'all come on in." And they come in, and Mama and Sister Jackson, they got in the kitchen, and they started cooking things up. And us young'uns started playing, and we played till we just wore ourselves out. And finally, Mama and Sister Jackson said, "Well, now it's ready. Come on in. We're going to have Christmas dinner." And I sit right next to Willie Jackson, you know, and he just rolled his eyes at me, and I'd roll mine at him. And we just die laughing, you know. And there was an apple and an orange and some stripedy candy at everybody's place. Papa, he sat at one end of the table. Sam Jackson sat at the other. It was just a beautiful table like you never have seen before. "Papa," he said, "Brother Jackson, I ain't much of a church man myself, but I believe you're a deacon in the church. Maybe you'd be willing to give grace." Well, Sam Jackson, he stood up there, and he kind of held onto the side of the table, you know. But he didn't bow his head like a heap of folks do when they're saying the blessing. he just looked up and smiled. And he said, Lord, I hope you're having as nice a Christmas up there with your angels as we're having down here, because it sure is Christmas time down here. And I just wanted to say Merry Christmas to you, Lord. Like I say, mister, I believe that was the wonderfulest Christmas in the United States of America. And now, everybody sing along with Jingle Bells and Bells. You get to do it again, Lori.
Let's jingle.
I thought I'd take a ride, and to this merry bride was seated on my side. Voice was sweet and lame, misfortune seemed to spot. He got into a Christmas egg, and then we got a shot. Jingle bells, jingle all the way. Oh, what fun it is to ride in a one-horse open sleigh. Jingle bells, jingle all the way. Oh, what fun it is to ride in a one-horse open sleigh. Day or two ago, story I must tell. I went out on the snow, and on my back I fell. Christmas was riding by in one horse open sleigh. He laughed as their eyes rolled and quickly drove away. Jingle bells, jingle all the way. Oh, what fun it is to ride in a one-horse open sleigh. Jingle bells, jingle all the way. Oh, what fun it is to ride in a one-horse open sleigh.
And from the book of Luke, verses 1 through 21, the birth of Jesus. In those days, Caesar Augustus issued a decree that a census should be taken of the entire Roman world. This was the first census that took place while Quirinius was governor of Syria, and everyone went to their own town to register. So Joseph also went up from the town of Nazareth in Galilee to Judea, to Bethlehem, the town of David, because he belonged to the house and line of David. He went there to register with Mary, who was pledged to be married to him and was expecting a child. While they were there, the time came for the baby to be born, and she gave birth to her firstborn, a son. She wrapped him in cloth and placed him in a manger, because there was no room available for them. And there were shepherds living out in the fields nearby, keeping watch over their flocks at night. An angel of the Lord appeared to them, and the glory of the Lord shone around them, and they were terrified. But the angel said to them, "Do not be afraid. I bring you good news that will cause great joy to all people. Today in the town of David, a Savior has been born to you. He is the Messiah, the Lord. This will be a sign to you. You will find a baby wrapped in cloth and lying in a manger." Suddenly, a great company of the heavenly host appeared with the angel, praising God and saying, "Glory to God in the highest, and on earth peace to those on whom his favor rests." When the angels had left them and gone into heaven, the shepherds said to one another, "Let's go to Bethlehem and see this thing that has happened."
So they hurried off and found Mary and Joseph and the baby, who was lying in the manger. When they'd seen him, they spread the word concerning what they had been told about the child, and all who heard it were amazed at what the shepherds had said to them. But Mary treasured these things and pondered them in her heart. The shepherds returned, glorifying and praising God for all the things they had heard and seen, which were as they had been told. On the 8th day, when it was time to circumcise the child, he was named Jesus, the name the angel had given him before he was conceived. And now, join us in singing, Hark the Herald's Angels Sing.
We're ready. Hark, hark the herald angels sing. Sorry, kids. I thought that was the intro. I'm sorry. Okay.
Hark the herald angels sing, glory to the newborn King. Peace on earth and mercy final, God and sinners reconciled. Joyful going, nations rise, join the triumph of the skies. Angelic hosts proclaim, Christ is born in Bethlehem. Hark the herald angels sing, glory to the newborn King. Heaven-born Prince of Peace, hail the Son of Righteousness. Light and life to all he brings, risen with healing in his wings. While he lays his glory low, o'er that no more may die. Born to raise the sons of earth, born to give them second birth. Hark the herald angels sing, glory to the newborn King.
Well, good morning, everyone. This is from The Work of Christmas by Howard Thurman. When the song of angels is stilled, when the star in the sky is gone, when the kings and princesses are home, when shepherds are back with their flock, then the work of Christmas begins. To find the lost, to heal the broken, to feed the hungry, to release the prisoner, to rebuild the nations, to bring peace among the brothers, and to make music in the heart. We will now sing We Wish You a Merry Christmas.
You know these words?
You a Merry Christmas, we wish you a Merry Christmas, we wish you a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. The tidings we bring to you and your friends, we wish you a Merry Christmas and a
No one knows?
Figs.
Yeah?
Figs, and a cookie for figs, and hard sauce.
Oh, okay.
Figs.
A ritual of the winter. A Ritual of the Winter Solstice Fire by Reverend Meg Barnhouse. Please turn on your small electric candles, symbolizing the light we bring into the world. Let us take into our hands a Christmas candle, a solstice candle. This is a night of ancient joy and ancient fear. Those who have gone before us were fearful of what lurked outside the ring of fire, of light and warmth. As we light this fire, we ask that the fullness of its flame protect each of us from what we fear most, and guide us towards our perfect light and joy. May we each be encircled by the fire and warmth of love, and by the flame of our friendship with one another. On this night, it was the ancient custom to exchange gifts of light, symbolic of the new light of the sun. Debbie extinguishes the candle.
Oh, I thought we were saying something together first.
Please join us in a unison reading of the words on the screen.
Therefore, make ready for the light,
Light star, light a candle, firelight, lamplight, love light. Let us share the gift of light.
And now as Silent Night plays, our time in community continues in the next room. Will the last row please lead us out, carrying your light and jingle bells into the community room. And you have a blessed holiday season. And if we're lucky, there might be some piggy pudding in there.